I talk about human factors and stuff before the show. Before the show.
Talk about literally no human factors before the show.
Well, we talk a little bit sometimes.
It's rare. All right, so here's the video. How was the office hours this week? I totally missed out.
Oh, dude. It was not the best, and I'm still kind of experiencing some pain. So what happened was last Monday, I got a crown in. I think I talked about that. And what ended up happening was I got some jaw pain, and I think it was, and some tooth pain, and I think it was a result of having, the jaw not coming down perfectly flat. One side was raised because I got some other dental work done. Anyway, long story short, there was a lot of pain, and the pain that I did feel was it caused me to be very low energy. So Tuesday's office hours was very low energy. And I even pointed out I got this little mouth guard so that it sounds like this when
Oh my god.
Should I do the whole show like this tonight, Blake?
I don't think there's an option. Can we get some answers in the chat whether Nick has to do retainer voice the whole time?
So anyway, that was fun. No, there's some good stories.
Fun. Holy cow!
I mean, yeah, it was painful. I thought I might have to like stop and do like half the office hours that day, half another day, because it was just so bad.
Sure.
And then I went in later that day, and the pain has subsided a little bit, but it was to the point where I was taking quite a few painkillers, and they were having zero effect.
Ooh, that sucks.
And now I'm at the point where I'm taking painkillers and they're mostly working.
But good.
I'm taking them more frequently than I would like. And I've been living off of them for the last 2 weeks. So not happy about that.
Ooh, that's no bueno.
But feeling much better overall. Just got to, kind of keep the warmth on my jaw. It feels like, it was very much like a different pain. It was like, from muscles being strained to now it's like I strained my muscles and now they're just sore. And that's kind of the pain I can describe in my jaw. It really hurts. So we're going to see if I can make it through a whole podcast tonight, a whole 2 hours of pre-show, post-show.
2 hours of talking. Yeah.
That's
probably a great idea.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Thanks to everyone joining us. I see a couple of you are joining in on the chat.
Hey, France.
So hello, everybody. And say hi while you're here. Yeah, this is the Nick and Blake pre-show. We're just goofing around right now, man. This is where we put together some fun things. If you are new to the show, or if you're a returning listener, next week is going to be pretty freaking cool. Recommend you come back next week for some exciting announcements.
Woo! Okay.
We should do show notes, huh? Yeah. So, yeah, okay.
Good.
Man, for the first time, the patrons have chose 4 news stories. There was a 4-way tie.
Wow.
This week. And so just, for everyone's awareness, when we get a tie, we kind of pick the one that we kind of pick the one that I think is a little better for us to talk about. And that's not to say
we can talk about for an hour at a time.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, though, they picked a lot of really great stories here, and I feel like we could talk about any of these for a length of time. So we're going to go with the exoskeleton story, which is why you see the title is Exoskeletons Using AI to Walk for You.
Sweet.
So that's the story that we're going with this week. Our patrons will see all the other ties pulled into the what's it? Patrons Choose the News poll tomorrow. It'll be live on our Patreon. So if you want to have a say in what we have on the show, you can come over there and give us a vote. Let's see here. What are we doing? Oh yeah, I just posted the link. You got the content there, Blake.
Did you post a link for the story in 199?
I am right here. There you go.
There we go. Rad. Let's go.
Italy.
Rad-ass exoskeleton. I'm excited.
Yeah, rad-ass exoskeleton. Who
With
wrote this
AI.
article?
That's cool.
Yeah, this is the next web. Okay.
Of course, it's the next web.
The next web. So okay, Blake, I'm gonna throw a couple of these out here from last week. These are the it came froms.
Cool.
You let me know if any of these resonate with you. And actually, I should probably go off screen really quick so I don't get flagged for drug use. Let me just put
flagged. Canceled.
They're painkillers, and I just explained why. Hang on. I'll be right over here. Oh wait, actually, Blake, I gotta fill up my water here, man. Can you talk by yourself for a second here?
Yeah.
All right, Blake's pre-show. Let's go.
I really don't want Teams to have AI associated with it to start setting meeting requests for me. That's the next article on the next web if anybody's interested. It's like Microsoft Teams now offers AI-powered live meeting transcriptions. No, thank you, because sometimes I like to have a little fun in some of my meetings, and I don't need that to end up transcribed. I actually found that I was having like a fair amount of laughs in a meeting earlier today, which was nice because it's been a long week for sure. If you're hanging out in any of the chats, welcome again. It's good to have you. How was your week? Did you have an enjoyable time? Are you stoked to be here on a Thursday night? And do you have any weekend plans? Oh, this is going to be interesting.
Who has weekend plans?
I was asking if any of our chatters have weekend plans or not. And seeing how everybody's week is gone.
Yeah. How has your week been, Blake?
It's the pre-show, so it was awful. But we're here now, so that's nice. I guess. Man.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, it's all good.
You know, you have some weeks that are just not too bad, and you have some weeks that are terrible. My week was really busy work-wise too. Like, it was really hard to focus with all that stuff going on, and you know, like, I don't know, man. Like, I have so much work to do, and then the deadline ended up getting shifted. So like, it was actually due today, and then we got it shifted to next week. So it's like, you know, I put in all this work last night to make sure I made the deadline because I had been MIA earlier this week because of this.
Oh man.
And yeah, no, I'm feeling good now though. Pressure's off.
That's good. Maybe you can just chill and, you know, hopefully stop having to take as many painkillers over the weekend.
That's the hope.
Yeah.
Oh man, they're making me sleepy and lethargic too, which is
yeah, that's a life of the painkillers.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Here, okay. So while you're doing the blurb, which I see you've got, I am gonna roll through some of these ones that we tackled last week or that we didn't talk about. Let's see here. Using UX enter. Okay, so we did talk about those three. So here are the ones that we didn't talk about last week. Are any of these worth it? How are you conducting user interviews in this pandemic era?
Oh yeah, that one's like super applicable because you've done that.
Yeah. What tools do you use for remote UX work collaboration with UX coworkers or human factors coworkers?
I basically use the UX extension in Chrome.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
And then, has networking ever really worked?
So yeah.
I think we keep those. Let's see if
the internet's up. Come on.
I saw some interesting ones filtering in through the week on our Slack, which I am trying to get up here, but I don't see it on my tabs. Uh-oh, what happened to Slack?
Slack break, finally. It's time to go to Discord.
It is time to go to Discord. Just don't give everything away, Blake.
Oh, goodness. Is that a thing? I'm over here just making jokes. All right. Well, there we go.
One of the things, anyway.
Sorry, 3 listeners. I ruined it. Canceled.
Okay. It's okay. We'll be all right. I'm not too worried about it. Let's see here. I'm looking at the
doesn't.
Okay, let's see if there's any fun things here. So starting last Thursday, you know, since we fixed this automation, we're getting a shit ton of these on our
Are they good?
I mean, some of them are really good.
Yeah, that's good. That's awesome, man.
Yeah. What would you say to a company that doesn't like the fact that you have a side business?
Ooh, haha. That's interesting.
Yo, is that one we want to tackle there, Blake?
I mean, that's fine. That's an interesting conversation that I keep having to have. So yeah, that's a good thing.
Let's tackle that one. All right, we'll just pull it in. Like I said, we might not get to all these, but they're
pretty solid though. We could do a little leftover like we did last week.
Yeah. Let's see here. What are some examples of UX improvements that you thought were needed, but when done, so it would actually have hurt your organization? No, I don't have any specific examples, and that's a weirdly worded question. Let's see here.
Oh, this is interesting. So I get I'm definitely way out of the loop on the world of exoskeletons, but I didn't realize I won't spoil it now, but I feel like there are some interesting control modes that exist for exoskeletons that I never really thought about, and so it'd be kind of cool to talk about in addition to the improvements made by AI.
Yeah, I need to refresh myself on this story before we go live. Just saying. So maybe I'll grab like 2 more of these and do a quick scan, because I think it had to have been last Tuesday when I read it. Let's see here. What job is it to test usability? Okay, career switch questions.
Yes, let me get them.
Nah, it's not that great.
Hummer. All right.
Best resources for improving prototyping skills? Nah. Very specific school questions.
Yo, will you do me a favor?
Yeah, what's that? What's up?
Will you just pull that prototyping question?
Oh, yeah, you want to look at it?
Yeah, like we don't have to answer it. I just have an idea.
Where the frick did it go?
If it's impossible to find, don't worry about it.
Yeah, oh, hang on. No, I just had it. Best resources for improving prototyping skills. You wanted to look at this. You had
just throw it in the bottom, and because I think I'll say it on stream. It's not a big deal. So I think we can step up the YouTube game a little bit.
I think so too.
Like some of my favorite things that we do is this last part of the show. And if we're getting a lot of questions and then they're like UX related ones, I can just do little one-off videos, throw them up there, trickle them up throughout the week. So that's what I'm thinking.
UX researchers. How much UX design do you know, and how did you learn it?
I don't know any. Do you?
A little bit on the job. Let's see here. I am blazing through here. There's not there. We had a lot of really great ones last week, so I'm pretty happy that we banked them and didn't.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Oh, I feel like this is a Blake question written all over it. How do you guys measure your performance or keep track of your metrics?
Oh, there you go. That's a fun one.
And I don't know if this is talking about personal or with participants. So we'll just grab that one.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think we can talk about it from both perspectives. Let's see here. When is a portfolio not required?
All the time.
I don't know. When you have friends that get you jobs.
Yeah, that's a legitimate answer.
I know.
Because that is the truth. Otherwise, you better have something.
I mean, I haven't had to update my portfolio in 5 years. I should do that. Maybe I'll do that during office hours one of these days.
There you go. For you, because you like you're like more HF UXR stuff, and I would wonder what a portfolio for you might entail.
That's the story, Blake. It's the story. You tell the story.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you do. But I feel like there's a lot of value for other people out there that want like human factors or UXR jobs.
How do you handle a user interview when your interviewee talks too much?
Ooh. Are you a good interviewer?
Bro, they can never talk enough. What?
Yeah, I mean, I would rather them talk a bunch than not say anything, because how are you going to assess them for fit?
Yeah, I'm gonna grab that one because this is. I mean, like it's a skill.
Yeah.
Interviewing's a skill because you want to be able to interject and kind of guide them in the direction where you are going to get valuable data from them. So I think that's an important conversation to have. Hello, all. I have a question regarding entering the field of human factors. I understand that it's a large field with a lot of different requirements and specializations, but generally speaking, for those in the field, what would you say is the most important in landing a human factors job? They have a background in psych and a master's in clinical mental health counseling. Realize that the clinical field is not where they want to be. Do support role in research. Oh man, that's an interesting pathway. I don't know. Do we want to talk about that one, Blake? Coming from the clinical side of things?
We can try. It's
let's pull it. I don't know if we'll be able to get to it at all because we got a lot of great ones so far.
Yeah,
I think
why not?
Like 6 or 7. So we'll just pull it and we'll see if we want to talk about it maybe even next week.
Yeah. Right. I am good for a blurb.
Okay, cool.
I've got a fair amount of notes under it as some Tina's talking points, but other than that, we're good to go.
Here's a question about job titles. I'm going to put that one in there too. All right. Okay, I need to do a quick refresher on this article really quick. I know you just kind of refreshed yourself on it, but it's been a week since I've seen it. So cool. I need to go check it out. Just remind myself that
it's pretty quick.
Yeah,
very
that's what I figure.
Way, which I love NextWeb for that. Makes things very, very cool. Ooh, there's a thing I wanted to talk about in the stuff.
In the stuff.
That's great. Very descriptive for somebody who talks
in the blurb
podcast. Yeah, there it is. Human factors cast Slack. Let's go in there because I think I put it in there. No, I would not like to download Slack for Windows. Thank you. Cool. All right. Let's check this out real fast. I didn't get to watch it at the time.
Yeah, it's a cool, really quick article, but I feel like we can talk about a lot of exoskeleton stuff.
Whoa.
Let's see here. You were you talking about the blurb, or were you talking about the banter?
Yeah, I'm just snagging banter stuff.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm glad you're snagging banter stuff. Let's see here. Man, I'm pretty low energy tonight. I'm not gonna lie, Blake. I'm gonna need you to pep me up.
Let's go. Do you have any Minos you can drink real quick?
No, I'm staying away from those while I'm on the pain meds.
Oh, there you go.
I do not want to mix those. Even though it's probably fine, but something about the mix of being lethargic as well as being hyped up on energy drink does not sit well with me. So
give you a nice even keel.
Yeah. Let's see here.
All right, so those are the accessibility tools. That's pretty sick, sir. All right, so I'll talk about native instruments and that stuff for complete control. What is it, 2.6? This guy murders the keys. So good. All right. What else do we have? That's not going to go very well. How does that look?
Great.
Doom. What if we get like a quick blurb from them?
Okay. Hey, this is still the pre-show. Why don't we? You know what? I wonder, do you want to answer that question now and we just clip it and then download it and upload it to YouTube? Is that something you want to do?
We could, yeah.
I mean, why not, right? I don't know if you want me to read it and then you answer it, and then I answer it like we normally do, or if we do something different. I don't know, man. We can try whatever.
Read it away. We'll see how it goes.
Okay, this one is from the hold on. Let me find it again. It's at the bottom. I put it at the bottom for you specifically. All right. This one comes from Caters on the user experience subreddit. They write best resources for improving prototyping skills. They are looking for resources on how to improve my prototyping skills, mainly looking for some video courses, since I can actually see what someone is doing, then replicate that. Articles are fine as well, though. I don't have preferences about any particular tool. So if you have, let's say, a great video course on Framer or Drama, I'll take that. Really looking for something that focuses on the craft, how to make really precise animations, interactions at a granular level, and possibly explains why approach A is better than approach B, and so forth. So not a video course on Marvel, which is great to do something quickly, but you can't make very precise stuff with it. Thank you.
Yeah, this one's really simple for me. And thank you to basically Design Lab for kind of hyping up Figma as much as they have in their courses. But like Figma, unfortunately, is a tool I can't use at work, but I use for all of my personal projects. And the reason that it's so good to me is not just like the browser-based aspect of it or the tooling that they have, which is pretty amazing, but all of their YouTube content is somewhere between either like a 5-minute, here's how a very specific feature works, and it's done so in like a really dense way. So at least 3 to 5 examples of how to use something like auto layout or auto animation or create responsive components. And then they also create entire series that are like, 1 to 2 hours long on topics like creating design systems inside of Figma and then using them to deploy. And also, building responsive web apps or websites using Figma software. So I think that from my perspective, with that tool being mainly free if you're using it for personal use and learning, and their free content that surrounds it, that is actually much more actionable than I feel like most companies are. That's your best bang for your buck for getting better prototyping skills. However, on top of that, like you can't really just go at this like recreating projects that you see on YouTube or whatever. You kind of need to go ahead and make up your mind that you're going to develop your own projects that you want to go through. So if it's like your landing page for your portfolio or like a website redesign for a friend, whatever it may be, like putting together little side projects for you to go and tackle will really help you like transfer the knowledge you learned from pre-built projects like that you would do through Figma tutorials or whatever, and then translate it into real stuff. The other thing for kind of improving prototyping skills, and this has come up, it's just come to mind in the past week, really. So there's always this question of, as a designer, do I need to know how to code? And I think I've often kind of given a middle of the road answer where it's like, if you want to, cool. Not everybody really cares about knowing how to code. But I think now with the way that kind of Figma's adapting like Flexbox utilities and logic and putting it into their design tools, like understanding basics of CSS and how you create responsive designs and technologies associated with them can give you a lot of bang for your buck. And there's so much free content on the internet that can really help you understand HTML and CSS really, really fast. So short answer, go check out Figma. Also, like check out any kind of like free resources like from Free Code Camp on HTML and CSS, and then create like your own projects. So come up with ideas and things you want to do.
Look at that. We're doing some human factors and design stuff in the pre-show. We made it.
We made it.
We did it. You made it easy for me, Blake. I didn't have to talk at all. My jaw got a little rest.
There you go. And we got 4 minutes until the show starts.
We do have 4 minutes until the show starts.
So fresh.
Yeah. So let's see. We got just a quick check. Well, yeah, we got everything. We're good. I have confidence in our ability.
You have Audacity up because I don't.
I do. I
Oh, look
do.
at you. Look at you.
Yeah, let's record at 30 tonight when the clock hits 30. Or not when the clock, but when the countdown hits 30. How about that?
30 it is.
Yeah, yeah, you know what? Good call. I'm going to make sure I'm actually like recording this stuff out of the right mic because that would be bad. Have to download this video and edit it that way, and that's not fun.
Nah.
Oh geez, what was I gonna do? I was gonna do things over here. Yes, things.
Do
Where's
it.
the thing? Where's the thing? Oh geez. No. We had a draft saved somewhere. Where did it go? This happened last week too, and I'm not super happy with it. Patreon hiding my drafts.
Oh, and Patreon, yeah, because remember after the pre-show, you're like, where did this go?
Yeah, I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna do it like right now, though, like, or at least pull in a couple while we're just waiting. You know?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Users. I am trying to get a better sense of what this accessibility update that Native Instruments created was, and I'm not getting a great.
What's Native Instruments?
So they make a lot. Well, they make probably the most popular audio library out there called Complete Control. But they also make a lot of physical.
Tell me,
instruments?
Do you have Control that is complete when you?
Oh no,
it is not.
It's too highbrow for my tastes.
Okay, so it is not, in fact, complete Control. It is partial Control. Would you say that?
It's iffy Control. Let's put it that way.
Iffy Control.
At best. Let's see.
Okay.
Visual feedback.
Oh man. Oh, it's hurting. My jaw's hurting again. I was quiet all day. I was like, it's hard for me to keep my mouth shut, and I was really just trying to rest it all day because I knew we were going to be on here, and I was like, nah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Things will be fine.
It'll be all right. And I can always just blab on and on and on about.
I might need you to, Blake. We'll see. So, really quick, man, I just want to go over while we're waiting for the pre-show here. I know we're a minute out, but we're gonna go over a little bit, and then we're gonna start the show just a tad late, which is okay because I don't know if we'll go the full hour tonight.
Cool.
We are bringing in. I guess I can show this.
Are you sure?
Give me a minute. Yeah, I can.
Oh man, you guys ready? He's about to show something.
So hold on. Here we go. Okay, so for everyone who's following along, our patrons do choose the news. This is what it's the fun thing that we do, right? So anyway, here's what our patrons get to see every week. And I'm gonna put us down here, just in the little corner there.
Nice.
So this is what our patrons get to see every week. These are some of the stories that we pulled from office hours this week about neuroscientists unveiling the technology for the vision impaired, bionic eyes, textured tablets, and more. That was a cool story. We got people affected by COVID-19 are being nicer to machines, and Facebook's wearable that uses nerve signals to control AR environments. And these are the ones that got pulled in from this week. So these were, we had like a 4-way tie this week. We had, we had a couple of them here, but you can see, oh wait, shoot, did I get this one? I didn't get this one. The BMW feeling things. I'll put that one in there as well. Yeah, we'll do that. So we had a 4-way tie between these four. And then this one got 1 vote. So we'll go ahead and bring that one in as well. And of course, we're talking about the exoskeletons tonight. So we got a full list there. I'm going to say, holy moly.
Now I'm interested in this BMW one.
Last week, we had a 4-way tie.
And now what are we going to get? A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-way tie. Let's go.
All right. Yeah, let's get an 8-way tie. Anyway, yeah, that's cool. They can pick those stories. I think we're good. I almost want to sort by like AI, AR. Anyway. Yeah, anyway, that's let me just make the poll settings, set end date. We're gonna make this next Thursday at 3 p.m. That way we have a chance to get in there. And what was the other thing I was gonna do? Oh, this is the episode 200 story too. I'm just realizing that now.
It is. That's a big one.
Yeah. So choose wisely. Jeez.
Yes. Choose a fun one so we can just have a laugh of a time on the pod.
Dude, episode 200 is going to be fun either way. Let's see here. We're going to schedule this for tomorrow at like 6 a.m.
Is that really next week? That's so nuts. I can't believe
I know. It is crazy. I am so excited to like, let everybody in on what we have been. Oh no, you're seeing now I'm spoiling it. They're
wow.
Part 6 next week.
Look at that.
Okay, well, anyway, happy 200 episodes, right? Yeah, no, I'm really excited to kind of spill the beans on what we got, but we'll talk a little bit about it tonight, what to expect, but beyond that.
All right. Cool.
Next week is when you want to know what's going on. All right, Blake, I'm going to go ahead and start this countdown. For everyone watching, we'll be back in just a second. We're going to take a quick breather, 60 seconds. Blake, go ahead and record at 30, and we'll go ahead and get going. Ready?
All right. 3, 2, 1.
All right. See you in 60. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Human Factors Cast. It is episode 199. Today, March 5th, 2021. I'm your host, Nick Roome. I'm joined by Mr. Blake Arnsdorff.
Absolutely. How you doing today, Nick?
I've been better. My jaw is kind of killing me, but that's okay. We'll get through it.
We'll make it through.
Anyone who joined us on office hours or the pre-show knows why. We will make it through the show tonight. We got a great news story that we're going to be taking, a look at here. Rad-ass exoskeletons, as the article puts it, using AI to walk for you. So we're going to be looking at that. Hey, everyone. I don't know if you noticed, but at the top here, I said this was episode 199. Next week is our 200th episode. If you're listening to this, please tune in. We have some really exciting announcements. It's going to be wild, I think. We have a lot of surprises planned. We kind of went big for episode 100 and like the live show and or not live, but we went to YouTube and it was pre-recorded and it was something. But episode 200 is going to be a lot. There's a lot of announcements there. So if you're listening, you should probably check that out. If there's one show you listen to. In fact, if you don't want to if you can only listen to one show over the next month, listen to that one. So, if this is part of your time right now, maybe, you can stop listening into this and just check out episode 200. That's okay too. It doesn't much matter, but be here for episode 200. There's some really cool stuff that I'm really excited to share with you all. Our patrons have kind of been in on some of the secrets, but even some will be a surprise to them. All right. So, Blake, I got to know what's going on with you.
Man, it's been a long week, and I'm glad that we've finally made it to Thursday where we can hang on the internet and talk about podcast things or talk about human factors, UX design, all that kind of good stuff. One thing that I found really interesting and fun this week was I've talked about it a few times in my banner section now. I've been doing a lot more kind of getting back into music and production of audio and stuff like that over the past year due to COVID, being at home more. But one thing that I saw like come across my LinkedIn page, I think on Monday, was I'm a big fan of Native Instruments. And for anybody who doesn't know, they're one of the bigger companies probably in the music world that makes virtual instruments as well as hardware instruments and have some of the biggest libraries out there. But they're also known for taking design into consideration when they're putting together different software packages and really putting user experience first. And that also includes accessibility design. So one thing that they have really ramped up, I think, in Complete Control 2.6 is adding more accessibility tools for blind users. So if you can imagine, if you're aware of like screen readers, right? So it's pieces of software that can help somebody navigate, a browser or any kind of application by giving them an idea of what they're hovering over or anything like that. Well, translate that to audio production or sound production. And in this case, what they've done is for Complete Control, it's their bigger, virtual instrument library. And basically what you would do is you can kind of attach your keyboard and play different sounds that they offer. Well, now the Complete Control software has accessibility features that as you navigate around the screen using your screen reader, it will give you a sense of what the sound will be. And so the samples are a lot easier to find if you're, a blind user or a low vision user. So it was just a fun story. And it's one of those times where it's cool to know how many different walks of life and different industries employ human factors and good design practices to help create products that are not just made for everybody, the everyday person, but kind of facilitate people of different, accessibility needs. So it was just a fun one to kick the week off with.
Yeah, I love talking about accessibility, and I think that was a great foreshadowing or potentially foreshadowing for what could be next week's episode. If our patrons are listening, or if you want to become a patron, we do let them choose the news for the show. It's chosen by them. We have one of the stories up on for next week. Our episode 200 is neuroscientists unveiling technology for the vision impaired. So things like bionic eyes, textured tablets, those types of things. It'd be a ton of fun to talk about that. So if our patrons are listening, is this like voter manipulation? I don't know. Anyway, the point is that would be a ton of fun to talk about on our 200th episode. So, I'll just leave that there.
Maybe we just put it in our back pocket and do like a short blurb on it if they don't like it.
It could be a ton of fun, and it would link into what you just said there, Blake. But I gotta tell you, my week has been going. It's been something, and I have to talk about this thing, and I am purposely not saying what it is on the audio version, but this thing here, there's a product.
Oh, now it all makes more sense to me. All right,
there's a product that it's okay. There's an audio component that will go with this. Don't you worry, everyone. There is a product in which I purchased to relieve some pain this week, and the instructions on the box are pretty terrible. Have you ever had to look up instructions for something that were for a product that was just didn't come with the adequate explanation for what to do with it?
Definitely. So I've got like my drum kit. I don't know, that stuff reads like stereo instructions that you need two PhDs to understand. So I like default going to YouTube videos for a lot of stuff like that. But something as simple as what you showed, I would hope that the instructions were straightforward.
No, they were not. So what I'm talking about is a mouth guard because I'm experiencing some jaw pain. And here's the auditory cue for you all listening on the podcast. So I keep doing this? I don't know.
There we go. That's your new host.
So here's the thing. No, I can't do it. Here's the thing. With this product, you can mold it to your teeth by boiling it and popping it in your mouth and having it sit there, and you push it up. The instructions and on this product are nowhere to be found. They say, hey, you can mold it to your teeth. okay, great. I'm looking at the box right now. It says 3 regular protection, 2 heavy duty mouth guards, and it says step 1, Fremulin notch to prevent irritation. Step 2, 2 different thicknesses for regular or heavy duty protection with a durable bottom layer to prevent wear. Step 3, moldable material to custom fit any sized mouth. There are no instructions in this box.
Yeah, that's 3 steps of product description.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was like, okay, well, how does one mold this? And so I had to go on to Amazon where I purchased this, and I had to look at some of the comments, and they were like, oh, yeah, you boil it in water. And like, no one had an exact amount of time that you boil it in water. And I'm like, am I going to like burn my mouth doing this? Like, and so it was just really frustrating to try to find, obviously I was already in pain and I was just trying to look for some relief. And I had to look elsewhere to find the answer that I was looking for, so that way I could get that relief. And it's a little frustrating. Anyone who's watching saw the product, but I mean, like, I'm not going to mention specific names. Anyway, do your research before you buy it. Even if you're in pain, like I was, don't just buy it on a whim because you think it'll relieve pain, because it might cause you more mental power than you want to exert. Anyway, that's
well, it's funny because like that specific type of product. So I did the same thing with my jujitsu mouth guards, and the instructions were awful. It was like, okay, boil it for how long?
How long? Yeah, exactly.
Just do it. And I would do it. I definitely burned the top of my roof of my mouth on one of my mouth guards because I was just like, I don't know how long this needs. We'll give it enough time, I guess.
I know. Yeah. So what I ended up reading was like, hey, you submerge it in the boiling water until you see the corners start to turn. And I'm like, but when it's in the water, it's hard to see. And like, what does that mean? The corners turn. And like, so this is user sourced, and it's like, and then you have about 5 to 10 seconds to pop it in your mouth. And when you pop it in your mouth, you push your lips up against it on one side and your tongue up against it on the other side and hold it there. And I'm like, I guess it worked. It's two of them did not. I have 2 other rejects over here as a prop that did not work. And one of them worked. So I don't know, man. It's frustrating.
1 out of 3. It's pretty good rating.
1 out of 3. All right. What do you say we get into this this next thing?
Let's go.
All right. Yes, this is the part of the show all about human factors news. This is where the instructions are going to be 100% clear for everyone listening, where we talk about everything related to the field of human factors. This could be anything from, we got some robotics in there this week and some AI, and how it interacts with humans. Blake, what do we got up first this week, or only this week?
Up first and only this week, as the instructions are meant to be very clear for the pod, is we have this rad-ass exoskeleton that uses AI to help you walk. So engineers at Canada's University of Waterloo are developing AI-powered exoskeleton legs that can walk autonomously. The system captures a user's surrounding using a set of cameras, and computer vision and deep learning algorithms then analyze the scene that the user is in to determine the best movements for upcoming terrain. The control approach in this model does not necessarily require human thought. So similar to autonomous cars, they can drive themselves. This company is actually designing autonomous exoskeletons that can walk for themselves. The system adapts to its movements of a user based on the environment that it's taking in. And the device could eventually give people with impaired mobility more natural control systems than current exoskeletons, which are typically operated through smartphone apps or even joysticks. The researchers overcame these kinds of limitations by actually fitting the exoskeleton with wearable cameras and then injecting some AI algorithms into it. So, Nick, this is interesting in a lot of ways because I think it opens my eyes to kind of current modes and methods for interacting with exoskeletons for people, but also the power of basically adding in, quote unquote, AI into a exoskeleton.
Yeah. So a couple things here. My first thought when I read this article, oh, maybe not. I don't know. You can go back and watch The Office Hours for my first thought on it. This is cool.
Oh, wow.
As I thought about it, I was thinking about, and this is from the perspective of somebody who has had minimal experience with exoskeletons. I mean, we went to ErgoX one time and it was a blast. But I don't study them, and it's not something that is in my wheelhouse. And so from that perspective, I'm just kind of laying that out there. When I read this and heard, oh, okay, these AI systems are propelling a user forward that's in an exoskeleton, I thought, wow, can't that be dangerous if it doesn't match the user's intent? And it makes 100% sense for somebody who has no control of their legs. But if it's augmenting someone who does have control of their legs, right? They might be able to. I don't see full control for somebody who has control of their own legs. Like that's kind of where I'm at. And I know I'm getting hung up on this, but it comes back to danger, right? So in the case where somebody is paralyzed from the waist down, this autonomous system can take over for them. Great. For somebody who does have control, I can see a lesser sense of automation taking place here where it might augment their steps. So they are still walking forward, but it maybe senses uneven terrain and shifts your leg ever so slightly to the left. So that way you don't step on that banana peel or something, as you're walking through a factory floor. Jerry left their banana peel on the floor and you don't want to slip on it. So the exoskeleton senses that and slightly sidesteps to the left to correct your stride. But even I feel like that much might hurt somebody. Anyway, we're talking about the technology and how it interacts with people. And I think this is mainly for people who are immobile. So we can focus on that. But overall, very interesting. And I kind of like the comparison to the self-driving vehicle, where it kind of takes in all this data from the external environment and uses that to, injects it with AI and it basically is on its way.
Yeah, it's a really great analog for this for sure. I think one point that you bring up, because I do like where your head's at, because you're thinking more outside of the box of the further applications, like beyond just like the immobile application. Awesome, makes a lot of sense. But what if there's kind of a middle ground that we can reach for people who, either, let's say one of your legs is like doesn't work as well anymore as you get older, and so having stuff like that can handle based on like sensing in the environment, handle actually giving you, good recommendations of movement, if you will. And I wonder if that goes back to, as this kind of product paradigm grows a little bit and they start taking into account, thoughts about moving. Because I think the idea here is the reason that this is kind of over and above, and the reason to put AI into this is in the case of you being immobile, you're not having to really think about any of the movements. The AI powered system can basically help you kind of plan out your movement without having to, interface with your thoughts. But so basically how it works is it's really just, it seems pretty simple, and I'm probably oversimplifying how it actually is all put together. But basically by using this camera system that they attach, which I think is limited to a single camera, it's just taking in your entire environment to kind of almost map out, like from the AI's perspective anyway, through, I think, computer vision, just understanding, okay, here's all the things that are possibly in the environment. This is really the direction we want to move. One thing that I thought was interesting is how well this might do in a very dynamic environment. Because for whatever reason, the graphics they presented look like the person's in a school, which they might be because it's for a university project. And so something like that, like where you have a lot of things that you would continuously be having to reassess in order to, make the correct movements. I wonder how it kind of would stack up in that situation.
Yeah, I think of factory floors where you're lifting heavy objects, where you have an instance where you're not only interacting with other humans in exoskeleton suits that are moving objects from point A to point B, but you're moving with automated lifters that will grab something from this part of the warehouse and move it over here to be shipped out. And so, if you have an exoskeleton that can kind of self-correct or prevent you from navigating in a certain direction, right? Can you imagine a lock on these things when, you go to try to walk and it locks up on you, but still stands you up straight? When a robot machine is coming down the way and it doesn't want to interfere with you and everything's connected, that kind of technology is possible. It's kind of cool.
Man, yeah, because that's like a whole ecosystem of technology working together. So beyond just your exoskeleton, like the 5 different people on the work floors, exoskeletons all working together, plus robots that are within the space. Now, one thing I think that's probably worth mentioning here is it does seem like this is pretty early on in the stages, because it is a research or a university program's research, because it does seem like mainly the focus is the AI and or the AI component that's working with ingesting the video and trying to figure out, like, okay, what's all in the surrounding and is it accurate? Doesn't seem like that quite yet. The exoskeleton itself is fully functional, so that's kind of the next stage of what they're going to try and do. So taking in the environment and now mapping that to motor functions that'll eventually, I think, translate into little programs for the exoskeleton to execute depending on rough terrain, normal terrain, whatever it may be.
Yeah, I'm looking at this, and they're specifically talking about like those with impaired mobility, and yeah, I'm thinking further out than that, right? Where do we go from here? Because they are, like you said, very early on in this process. I wonder what other kinds of bells and whistles we could add on to a system like this to make it even better, right? I mean, and so 2 thoughts. Let's take that one, but then also there's the other thought of, what problem does this solve, right? Well, right now, those with limited mobility, they might have exoskeleton technology that could help them, but if it's powered via a smartphone, then they'd have to take out their smartphone and navigate using that, right? Press forward until they desire to stop, and then they would hit stop, and then they would input another direction. So it's very input based. Whereas something like this, you could have like a general goal, like walk me to the store, walk me to the corner store, and it would take you from point A to point B. You'd arrive, and then that's when it would get a little interesting, because like, what do you do with the intent there? So again, I'm trying to reiterate, that's the problem that it's solving. It's solving the issue of the input, being serial and having an input at all. I don't know how you control this thing. Do you just lean forward and have it, kind of like a segue where it kind of senses that you want to go forward? And because that's what we're doing as we start to move forward, is we're kind of falling forward, and our body moves forward to catch it. And so I'm wondering if the exoskeleton will do the same. You start to fall forward, it catches you and moves you forward. If you lean in a direction, maybe it goes that direction. I can kind of see that working. But as this is very early on in the stages, we need to look at what other bells and whistles, like the intent reading of the people who are actually utilizing this, right? How can we sense that intent of an operator, and how do we understand what their intent is when navigating through something, right? There are certain things that we can account for with the system that's in place. Let's take that corner store example. You walk in the store, and now the artificial intelligence systems on board the exoskeleton will prevent you from walking into a display or other people or items. But how do you tell the system, I want to go down this aisle and to stop about halfway because that's where the energy drinks are, or whatever? I don't know if anyone with limited mobility would be having energy drinks, but you never know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think you bring up a good point, though, in going back towards the like analog of, this is totally going to expose how little I know about how like Tesla's automation works. But I would imagine for some of it, you may be like, for instance of the corner store, right? That seems like it makes sense and it's a possibility, because I could imagine that if you use an automated system in a car, if you were able to give it a point direction, like where you want to go, then it, like, through basically just navigation through something like Google Maps, it could probably figure out, like, okay, this is a route that I'm going to take, and based off of previous driving experience and the algorithms I'm built on, I should be able to sense things around me and make decisions. So for something like translating that here, like a corner store trip, or I'm going to class, understanding the base functions to get you from point A to point B based off of geolocation, maybe that seems doable. Now, I think when you're getting more into some of the nuance of, okay, you've made it, so I made it to the classroom door. Now I have to go pick a chair. What do I really do from here? That I feel like there's still kind of a gap for this research project where you may still have to pull out that smartphone to do the rest of the journey. But ultimately, that's cut down a lot of kind of like cognitive work, if you will, and to some degree motor work of trying to navigate yourself an entire length or an entire kind of journey or whatever it may be.
Yeah, let's talk about exactly where they're at in the process, right? So this article that we pulled was from the Next Web, but they're actually referencing another article from IEEE, and this is called Simulation of Stand-to-Sit Biomechanics for Robotic Exoskeletons and Prosthesis with Energy Regeneration. So this is the article that they're referencing. And basically what they're testing in this study, the abstract basically says they're looking at sitting and standing movements with these lower limb kinematics, right? And sort of these ground reaction forces. So that's kind of where they're at. They're not looking at even navigation at this point. I think they're, I don't know if they linked to the wrong one or if this is an earlier study, but this is published on February 9th of this year. So fairly recently. And I don't know if, there's potentially more within this study here, but, from what I'm reading from the abstract, it looks like they're very, very earlier on. And this article from the Next Web is almost speculating based on the thread of research that they're doing on this project, right? This is from researchers, looks like at the University of Waterloo. So, I'd be curious to see exactly where they stand in that lab with this effort. But at least the article that the Next Web here is referencing it's very early on.
Well, this is actually a little further along than I expected. I thought, based on Next Web's kind of interpretation of either the abstract or this full article from IEEE, that they were really only focusing on basically the AI component and the computer vision interpretation. But it seems like there could be a lot more going on. So the camera aspect, yes, but maybe that is more in play with helping somebody sit or stand, or being able to detect in the environment there is a chair and now I want to sit or stand up from it. So that is a little bit more complex than I was even kind of interpreting this as.
Okay, I'm looking up. I'm digging here live as we're going through this article, but yeah, there's so the most recent article was the sit to stand, but they had an original paper that was published in 2019. Which was a finalist for a Best Paper Award at IEEE.
Yeah,
and it was the conference on rehabilitation robotics. So the concept is there, and they're in the early phases of it. And right now, I'm actually on the NVIDIA developers website, and they have a video. I'm not going to show this just because I don't want to get DCMA'd, but I'll send a link to you, Blake, so you can watch this on your own.
Nice.
But there's a video of somebody in an exoskeleton attempting to walk, and I'm not sure if the automated system here is also taking part, but it certainly looks that way based on the movement of the legs. But yeah, I think it is earlier on in the process, but it sounds like it's even more developed than either of us think it is.
Wow. Yeah, this is so much further along than I had assumed. Now it's kind of hard to tell, of course, from the video without like a little bit of narration, because it does just seem like, to my naked eye, it looks like the guy is just kind of walking, and there looks like there is some like forcing going on from that, like the exoskeleton and the actuators in it. But that's pretty insane. And again, this is speculation looking at a YouTube video that's obviously made by, I think, the students themselves or the researchers themselves, but it looks like he's providing minimal effort for balance, because he does have his hand out, like keeping himself like kind of
railing,
upright, but it's not like, death grip on the rail. Like, this thing's just going to knock me over if I'm not, holding really tight. It's basically like tapping against it. So that's another aspect that I didn't really think about is, from somebody that either has always been immobile or has become immobile, the balancing aspect and how a exoskeleton would kind of account for and handle that could be a whole new sensation or something to relearn almost. But it seems like for who I'm assuming is an able-bodied person here, it looks like they're still able to manage it, and it looks like the machinery or exoskeletons doing a lot of the work in this case.
Yeah, I'm looking at the NVIDIA side of things. So they are actually powering some of this AI that's going in there. They're using a Titan GPU for the neural network, and they're talking about control from the human operator standpoint here. Basically, they say it won't necessarily require human thought. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think, human thought can be intent in terms of the way your body is moving. That's human thought processes, controlling your body to move in a certain direction that would then tip off the AI what you want to do. But yeah, I think this story is just incredibly interesting, and one of those stories that I really wish we could talk to Chris Reed again, because he's one of those the ErgoX. Well, he's the president-elect of HFES now, but I'd love to pick his brain about these exoskeletons, because we nerded out about him at about exoskeletons at ErgoX a couple years ago.
Absolutely, yeah. It would be awesome to get, because I could imagine his take with a heavy background in exoskeletons and really helping develop the foremost kind of conference around it with ErgoX. I mean, then thinking about, or from his perspective, understanding how the impact of integrating AI and different kind of deep learning algorithms into using something like this would probably be more interesting from his perspective, because he's understood kind of the status quo and what it's been like to even put any kind of smarts into any exoskeletons that have existed and what potential this really has. It's really amazing that, I mean, it's not amazing. It's cool that NVIDIA is involved in this. And I'm glad you kind of poked around a little bit and did a little extra digging while we were on stream.
Yeah, it's live research, live due diligence right in the moment. All right. For everyone, just hang around for a minute. We're going to be taking a quick break, and then we'll be back to see what's going on in the human factors community right after this. All right, and we're back. I just want to thank all of our patrons this week for selecting our topic. You just heard the Patreon commercial, and thank you to our friends over at the Next Web for our news stories this week. If you want to follow along, we do post those links to the original articles in our Slack as we find them. So, join us over there for more discussion. I'm also sourcing them on Tuesdays. We're doing Human Factors Cast office hours over on Twitch. So come join me over there. A huge thank you, as always, to our patrons. There's going to be some exciting news about our Patreon next week for episode 200, so please be there to join us for that. And especially our honorary Human Factors Cast staff, Michelle, Tripp, patrons like you keep our show running, and sincerely thank you from the bottom of our heart for your continued support. I'm not going to spend too much time on Patreon because next week is going to be where it's at if you're listening. Anyway, all right, let's go ahead and switch gears and get into this next part of the show we like to call. Yes, it came from Reddit this week. This is the part of the show where we search all over the internet to bring you topics the community is talking about. Our patrons do get front of the line to this, although we have no patrons this week with any questions, but that's okay. We have a weekly Q&A over there if any of them want their questions answered on the show. Blake, I think we're going to make this a little bit shorter of an episode this week, just because, man, my jaw is killing me.
I was actually going to say, and I meant to throw this in the chat, would you rather me read these?
No, it's okay. I can power through.
All right.
As long as you can lead the post show. I think that will be the
that'll be the party. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we'll be okay. I do want to so I think we're shooting for like 45 minutes today. Let's do that. So let's take a couple of these. So I'm thinking let's talk about these ones. So we actually pulled these ones for last week but didn't quite get to them. So let's pull them. This one comes from Realistic Attack on the User Experience subreddit. They go on to ask, how are you conducting user interviews in this pandemic era? Hello, all. I'm very new to UX or human factors, whatever. And right now, I'm trying to create some side projects to hone my design thinking skills. I wanted to learn how I can go about doing user research remotely. I made use of Survey Tandem for our user surveys, but I'm wondering whether that's sufficient. Do you use Zoom to contact users and have a virtual face-to-face interview? Where do I find willing participants? Thanks in advance. Blake.
It'll definitely depend, right? But I would say, so there's a lot of things out here for this. There's so many tools that exist for you to help you do this that I think there's even, web services you can pay for that can help you find participants and things like that. I would say if it's a side project, you're better off kind of using what's at your disposal versus like if you really are trying to pay for research up front to give you like a springboard. It's all going to depend on what you're doing. I think one thing that I found successful is using, mediums like Teams or whatever you have access to that's like that. I know some people have done stuff through Discord as well. But for me, it's been interesting. So I've taught a lot of people over the past, almost year and a couple of months now. Like, how do you adapt in a COVID era for doing some user research methods, whether it's doing, over-the-shoulder usability testing, doing UX interviews, and a lot of the stuff, the methodology itself stays the same. It's just kind of adapting to the toolkit and the virtual environment. I think one thing you're just really going to want to know is who you're targeting and how can you get a hold of them. If you're working with a business, you may have better access to consumers or customers or anything like that. Whereas if you don't, you're kind of almost going to have to guerrilla crowdfund your participants. And one way that I've had success, and I've seen success with people that I work with, this is people that I work with being like students from Design Lab or personal projects that I work on, is using social media to help you kind of crowdfund or find people that would be willing to even take your survey, interview with you, interact with your prototype, whatever it may be. So again, it's kind of just using the tools that you have at your disposal and going from there, because the method really stays the same. Now, Nick, I know you've had a lot of experience with this in your professional life recently. How's it kind of impacted you, and what kind of workarounds have you found?
Yeah, so there's a couple questions here that I want to address. There's one, how do I get users for the thing that I'm trying to research? And that's a very different question from how do I conduct the interview itself? And that's a very different question from what methods and metrics do I use in a remote environment? And I think they're all separate, but they're all related. So I'm going to tackle those three, and that's kind of how I'm seeing it, right? So there's the questions of how do I get users generally? I think the short answer is you go looking. And as a user researcher on your project, you should have a good idea of who your users are, what demographics you're looking for. If it's a broad project, I've been fortunate enough to work on very specific projects. Right now, I'm working on a website where there's only a couple users of this product, and they're only coming to this for a specific purpose. And so, I've built a relationship with the people that know the people that use the website. And so I've leveraged that relationship to say, hey, we need people to do this usability study. Kind of, there's a whole political and sort of interesting game that you have to play with showing your value to the people, so that way they understand what you do, so that way they can reach out to the people that you need to do the thing that you do, to explain to the people that you have those relationships with what the people that they got you to do for the thing. You get my point here, right? It's all a symbiotic relationship. Everyone's helping everyone. So if you can say, hey, look, if you can get me users, I can get you this information. And so if you explain to them what types of people you're looking for, what you're going to do, and as long as you're transparent with everything, that's a good way to recruit. Now, if you're just doing blind recruiting, that's something that I don't really have a whole lot of experience with. Blind recruiting can be tricky. I would certainly work on like pre-screening things to make sure that they are within the demographic that you are looking for, right? If you post on Craigslist or something, it's going to be a hit and miss on who you get. It also depends on what funds you have available to sort of compensate these participants for, right? If it's a personal project, you might want to use friends and family that are going to do you a favor. But if it's a fully funded thing, you might want to reach out into the general public, look for people who are using similar websites, that type of thing. That's the user question. Then there's the question of, well, how do I actually conduct this study? And one method that I have taken is use what's available to you and use what is going to be widely accessible to a lot of people. The tool that I use, we're on the Microsoft suite. So Microsoft has a tool called Forms, but there's, and that's a survey builder, but you can do this with SurveyMonkey. You can do this with Google Forms. You can do this, with whatever tool you feel comfortable with, but you need some sort of data collection receptacle and something that you can send to them. Now, I learned a valuable lesson. You don't send this to them before the actual study. You send this to them in the moment. So how does this work? Well, you can first set up, contact them via email. And this is very long-winded, and I promise it'll be worth it for anyone who's having difficulty with this. But you contact them via email, explain who you are, explain what you're doing, explain what is going to be asked of them. I would highly recommend you record your sessions through whatever means possible. Most video conferencing softwares have the ability to record. Like I said, I'm on Microsoft. We use Teams. Teams has the ability to record. So I am recording their screen. I'm having them share their screen with me, so that way I can look over their shoulder as they're navigating through this website. I can understand where, if you're working on sensitive information, that might not necessarily be possible. But in cases where it is possible, try to do that. There are also other things you can do, but whatever you do, just make sure you're recording and make sure they're aware that you're recording. Go over the consent form verbatim with them, make sure that they understand exactly what you're going through and trying to get. You can grab really valuable things with a screen recording. You can get time on task post hoc. You can get completion rate post hoc. You can go back and look at comments and play back specific examples of people struggling for your client that are very telling in some cases. And so in terms of what things I collect, I collect kind of the basics, right? Especially remote. I go time on task, completion rate, system usability, demographics, interview. And the interview is really just kind of a wrap up, like a follow-up section where I can go and drill down and say, hey, you were doing this thing on this part of the website. Can you explain why you did that? Or, what are your needs, or, all that stuff. But it's kind of open-ended. And then the last part I kind of just answered, which is the methods and metrics. Those are the methods and metrics that I use. Kind of a long-winded way to go about this question of how to conduct user interviews in a pandemic era. And I went even a step further and talked about usability studies. But I think it's a matter of what tools you use. And one more note on that, right? Tools, you need to be able to, especially if you're working with the general public, they need to be accessible. So write up like a detailed report of what you're expecting of them. Say, hey, Just wanted to touch base before the usability study. What you're going to do is you're actually going to click on this link to go to Microsoft Teams. From there, we'll walk through the rest, but don't provide too much information because then they'll get lost. They won't actually get to Teams in the first place. And there are some weird things with video conferencing software that may need to be stated, right? Like Teams, you have to click on another button, and the more you can spell it out step by step for them, the less error that you're going to have, especially in a pandemic era where everyone's remote and everyone's on their computers and, you know, stuff like that. I feel like I'm missing one other point that I wanted to touch on, but walk them through it step by step. That's the usability study. In terms of interviews, yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. But anyway, any other thoughts on that one, Blake, before we continue
man,
on?
you crushed it. I think that was like some really solid advice for people to walk away from this for sure. So excellent job, especially when you're not feeling grand.
Yeah. That actually kind of loosened up my jaw. So we're going to keep going. Here we go. We're going to do this next one here. What I feel like we just answered this question, but I'm going to say it anyway. What tools do you use for remote UX work collaboration with UX coworkers, or human factors work collaboration with human factors coworkers? This is via Exofile on the user experience subreddit. Hi, guys. Lots of us had to quickly switch to a more remote working means of working for research, designing, testing, collaborating, etc. Well, I'm sure we have a general idea of how it is to work externally with stakeholders. How about internally? What software or applications do you use for remote human factors work internally with other human factors coworkers? Primarily in internal communications, such as Slack, Teams, email, human factors activities and or analysis, such as Mural, Docs, documentation and info, Office 365, internal tools, how to keep track of info from meetings, analysis, insights, digital design work, Figma, Sketch, Photoshop, Illustrator. Why have you chosen these instead of others? And what about it makes your workflow smoother with other UX coworkers? I'm currently also researching this, so anything would be appreciated. Might be interesting for you to get an insight with what actual UXers or human factors are doing. Blake, that is kind of a different answer than I just did. What do you use to collaborate with other people internally?
Yeah, I love this question because I'm a sucker for tools, and it's kind of fun because like I have total freedom in my mentoring UX design job, and then I have like some restricted control aspects to my normal 9 to 5 because like we can't use all of the cool cloud tools like Figma. So for like internal stuff for the 9 to 5 job, right, where I really focus on a lot more on the UI design and prototype and development stuff, that is kind of restricted to Adobe tools. So I focus on XD mainly because I can create, robust design systems, share components and bits with my internal teams if I have another designer that I'm working with, and I can export them to the rest of my team really easily. Because we're an Adobe company, if you will, and we use that stuff. I have a lot of my teammates actually that maybe don't do design download the program anyway so that we can work collaboratively on designs and we can do design reviews remotely and things like that. There's also, just to like, this is funny, trying to plug a plugin for XD that kind of stops me from having to use anything else like Mural or Miro is a plugin called Whiteboard, which basically allows you to, as you would imagine, create whiteboards, but it also comes with templates that are automatically generated in XD for user flows and task flows, as well as different, sprint activities, like, do like sticky note activities and things like that. So that's been fun for just work collaboration stuff. So brainstorming across teams and things like that. In terms of my other, where I have more freedom with Design Lab, I do everything through Figma and Google Meet. My like side business is Don't Panic UX, and so I have a business account with Google, so I get to just shoot meeting requests and use Google Meet no problem, and I don't really have any issues or hang-ups with it. But the best thing about collaboration over the internet for design is Figma, because if I'm doing something live trying to show somebody, it's really, really easy and quick to be able to like shoot me a link to your file, and I can hop in there and either leave comments or do stuff live. Also, it's nice with the commenting feature because I can get more detailed inside of a design file and leave examples behind for people to explore. versus where I was kind of like only focusing on using the Design Lab platform and leaving comments back and forth there. I couldn't really always show how to do something, like how to add a transparent gradient to help you, make text pop off in an image and stuff like that. So it definitely depends on what job I'm in, but those are a couple of tools that I find myself using and are really invaluable to kind of the remote work side of things for me.
That's a great answer, Blake. I think for me, it largely is it's an artifact of what I'm allowed to use. And those constraints help me use those effectively. Like I mentioned before, where I'm at right now, it's Microsoft based, right? So I have to use things like Microsoft Forms. I've never used Microsoft Forms before this, but it worked out okay. I think, it forced me to ask questions in a different way because there was some limited functionality to say something like Google Forms. But bottom line here is that first off, use what's available to you and learn to use those tools if you're planning to be there for a long time, because that's the bread and butter, and you have to sort of meet that resistance head on. You have to make sure that you're comfortable with the tools that are available to you. Now, if this is something where you have complete control, pun intended, Blake, do you get it? Do you get
complete control? Yeah.
Do you get it?
A call back for everybody else.
Call back for everyone. It's in the banter. If you do have complete control over the tools that you use, and then I think use whatever you're comfortable with. And I know that's a pretty cop-out answer, but there's a lot of programs that offer free trials. And, you can't learn a full program, but you can get a sense of what each program has to offer by using those things. For us, we actually use Slack here at the podcast to communicate not only internally between Blake and myself and everyone else behind the scenes who's actually helping us with the show, but everyone that we invite into our Slack, we have a Human Factors Cast community that we communicate with. So this is both internal and external, and it's a great way for us to manage our work. We're also using the Google Suite, right? And it integrates with Slack. And so when we're doing podcast stuff, it's through the Google Suite. And we've learned to harness these tools to help us with creating the podcast and doing some of these fun things, right? So it's like, use the tools that are available to you. We could switch to a different platform, but at this point we're built in and we've built a lot of fun things in it. So I don't know if we'd ever want to switch, but anyway, we can have another conversation in the post show, Blake. But yeah, I don't know. Mine's a pretty cop-out answer where it's like, use what's available to you. And if you have control over what you have, then it's a little harder.
I like the idea that what you said, if you have complete control of just like getting your hands dirty in a bunch of different tools. Like,
are we getting royalties from them? We've mentioned it like 17.
I hope so. But like that would be so great just to like not really have to worry about it and just dive into any workflow that works for you and works for your clients and works for like the people you're working with. So that'd be a lot of fun to get into.
All right, let's do one more. I'm feeling good about this jaw. We're good. All right, this last one here is from Jassalex on the user experience subreddit. We had a user experience subreddit night, but I think these are all really great questions. So this one here can easily be applied to human factors as well. Has networking ever really worked? They go on to write, I went out for dinner for the very first time this year and overheard a gentleman say to his table he lost his job last month. So a person at his table told him, oh, you have to reach out. Should I do this in voice? Oh, you have to reach out to people and network to find your next job. But has this ever really worked? I will say in my own experience, I have received some information that has helped me, but never have I spoken to someone to get a really great job, especially in UX or human factors. Blake, has networking worked for you? And how did it work for you?
I mean, networking got me my first job for sure. And now I will be fully transparent that I'm probably overselling how much networking did, because as much as I don't like to admit it, I interview pretty well. And so that plays up to my advantage, but I feel like the network that I built from grad school definitely got me in for my first internship and interview and a couple of my first jobs. So without that network, being built in, I probably wouldn't have, worked at places like NASA or worked at my current job. Like I wouldn't have gotten any of those opportunities. Also, networking for me has had more benefits than just getting me a job. Nick, you probably remember this. A while ago, I was the marketing director for UXPALA, and I don't know if we were joking about this in the pre-show or what, but I mean, that's where I learned a lot of design. I don't have a design background of any kind. I'm very self-taught in both the design world, the UX world, and in the programming world too. And it was kind of through networking and volunteering my time that I learned a lot from peers and people I wouldn't have had access to otherwise. And that also led to freelance work that I definitely would not have gotten without any kind of networking. I don't know if this counts as like direct networking, but when Nick and I used to have the studio, I had it in a co-working space. And so just by having my cards outside of my door, I would have people, leave me notes on my door or call me or, DM me on Instagram and ask me about what UX was or what I did with the space. And that led to a couple of freelance jobs. So I think it probably, Nick, you're going to like reach the internet and slap me, but it definitely depends, because I could totally see from somebody's point of view that maybe networking isn't the only thing that's going to get them a job. And it's probably not the only thing, but I feel like from my experience, what I've seen with helping other people kind of transition careers, helping get a squad of people around you that are basically looking out for your best interests can help tremendously when you need a new job or when you want to do that first side hustle gig or whatever it might be. But Nick, what's your experience been from the networking side? Oh, by the way, having a podcast is a really good way to not just network, but build like a personal brand around.
Yeah, that's a great way. Start a podcast. But seriously, if anyone's listening and like wants to start a podcast or reach out to us, we would be happy to share our resources with you. We're not like a competitive bunch. We think that a different take on it would be really fun to see and listen to. So in terms of networking, yes, I think Blake, you're right. I think the way this sounds is that they are very much looking at it from a how is this going to get me a job perspective, and it's much deeper than that. I can say with certainty that there are a handful of people that I could reach out to if I woke up tomorrow morning and my job was gone. I could reach out to those people and I would be able to feel good about my chances at securing a job. Let me put it that way. And that's because I've networked with them. It's because I know who they are. It's because they know what my skill set is. And how did I do that? I did that through networking. Talking about personal experience. I had a very similar experience to you, Blake, where my first job was not necessarily, my first like real job out of school was not necessarily networking, although I knew some people that knew some people. And that kind of helped ease things a little bit. And so, from that perspective, I wouldn't say necessarily it was the networking that got me the job, but it certainly was another point of conversation to say, oh, yes, I worked in so-and-so's lab, and you worked with them on this thing. Oh, yeah, what was that like? And then, we can have that common point of reference. And then I will say, I was headhunted for one of my most recent jobs because someone knew my skill set and because they wanted me to work with them. And, that worked out. So yes, I think absolutely networking works. I don't know how much more I can say. I feel like this person must either have had a really bad experience with networking, or they just haven't had somebody that reached out to them, or they haven't reached out to them, the other people yet about networking. Anyway, I think, yes, it does work. And, if you all need help networking, we have a whole Slack for you.
Yeah, I think you made an important point there, or I see it as a point that may be overlooked. But the work that you do with other people is networking to me. It's because that reputation and like you said, Nick, like you got headhunted for another job because of past work that you'd done with other people. Like that's networking, but it's not like the normal, I'm trying to figure out how to talk to somebody to meet up, or I'm cold emailing somebody or hitting them up in their LinkedIn DMs. It's, doing good work and being a professional and letting other people see that. So keeping that in mind as well is important. Like the people you've worked with in the past, though, that is like a sense of networking. Now you can do it negatively or positively, right? Like if you didn't do the best job or you didn't have the best interactions with some particular coworkers or whatever. So I think like broadening your perspective of what networking is maybe what this person needs. Cause I could totally see that. Like it could be that lady sitting that you did the voice for sitting at the table with you, telling you that you need to network to get a job. But I think there's more to it than that.
You need to get a job. You need to network. Blake.
Get a network.
Get a network.
Build your network. Call Charter and build a network.
The Covey spreader. All right, that's going to be it for today, everyone. Let us know what you guys think of the story this week. You can join the discussion on our Slack or follow us all over our social channels at H Factors Podcast. If you like what you hear, you want to support the show, there's a couple things you can do. One, you can leave us a review on your podcast medium of choice. That is free for you to do and really helps us out. Two, you can let a colleague know. That also really helps us out from that word of mouth. Three, if you have the financial means and want to help contribute to the show in your own way, you can consider supporting us on Patreon. We have a lot of stuff over there, and like I said, there's going to be some exciting announcements next week. As always, links to all our socials and our website can be found in the description of this episode. I want to thank Mr. Blake Arnsdorff for being on the show today. Where can our listeners go and find you if they want to talk about how they can control something completely?
Oh, you guys can completely control things by hitting me up in the Human Factors Cast Slack, or you can reach out to me across social media at Don't Panic UX.
As for me, I've been your host, Nick Roome. You can find me across social media at Nick_Roome, and we are both streaming on Twitch for office hours. So you can find us there. Thanks again for tuning into Human Factors Cast. Until next time, it depends. All right. Wow, we still did an hour.
That's hilarious, dude.
Even though I said 45 minutes, my jaw's hurting.
My jaw's hurting. All right, I'm going to stop recording.
Yeah. Oh, I already did.
All right, I'm going to export that and send it to you, and it'll be on its way.
I can't believe we've been doing this show for 199 episodes, and I still haven't told you we stop recording after we say it depends.
Yep, that's true. After all this time, just been wasting my life. All right, let's go. So 199 in the can.
Let's go. Yeah, next time we meet, it'll be episode 200.
Wow, that's terrifying.
That's crazy, dude. I feel like I want to give everyone who's on right now just a little sneak peek at what's gonna happen. Like,
why not? It's only the internet.
It's only the internet. I'm gonna say there's a lot of new things. So that's one thing. No, hang on. If you look at this list, Blake, you and I are looking at the same list here. It's at the top of the notes.
Oops.
There's new things. There's lots of new things. Hang on. What?
Give him a tease. Just like do a little clip.
I'm not gonna give that much away. But there's new goodies. Let's put it that way. We've been working behind the scenes on some of this stuff. Let's see. There's more new things. This is not necessarily a secret, but we're going to announce it kind of next week, is that we've been posting more regularly on social media now. That's something that we've been pretty bad about, but we got our automation set up again, so that at least our shows are posting there. We're hoping to find a way to distribute our news stories through our social media. I guess this one's not necessarily a secret either. We've been streaming more.
Yeah, that's happened.
Yeah,
that
has happened. But I mean, like, the big announcement, I guess, is next week. Anyway, we do have updated Patreon content, like I said, and yeah, we got lots of new stuff. That's it. That's all I'm gonna give.
Is that all you're gonna let them have? Let them get a little access to? I think that's nice.
Come back next week. I think that's enough of a tease for now, and next week will be fun. I am so excited for next week, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one.
You know what? Okay, here. I'll do you one better. Here's another tease. You ready? Everyone who's watching in the post show here. This is where we put together some of the thumbnails and whatever. We talk about how the show went, how Blake and I both suck, that type of thing.
And please chime in if you have opinions on how it went, because that's
best way to.
It's helpful.
This is probably this. All right.
Yeah.
So I'll do one better for everyone who's watching in the post show. I think this is going to be something. So we are now going to do different. And I actually had a better way of doing this. We're going to have a different kind of podcast art for this little number here, right? So these guys
be abstract now. Is that what's happening?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my goodness.
No, so this is going to be the. Yeah, there you go. So this is like if it was for last week's episode, right? And it would look like this. And that's last week's episode. Where's the I need to find the top of this thing. Anyway, that's what we're looking at.
This thing. What am I gonna do?
That is what we're looking at, folks. So actually what I'll do is I'll crop it to be the same height as that. So you're seeing this live. This is actually something that we are changing up next week. This is going to be the
new format,
the new weekly. This is going to be the new images that you see on your podcast feed. That's what it'll look like. That's that little square there. So
you heard it first here.
And hey, check it out. Oh, here's the YouTube one. Oh, how cool is that? Oh man, look at how much it's changed. We've straightened out the bar,
straightened it.
And we've cleaned it up. Isn't that cool?
Ooh-wee.
But today, what we're doing here, 199. What is this? What did we call this episode? What's the description of this?
What is the description of this?
Something it's like AI.
Kick-ass AI.
No, I didn't say that. I said exoskeletons using AI. That's, wow, what a freaking boring-ass title.
Yeah, it should have gone with the kick-ass AI.
Yeah, we should have gone with the kick-ass AI exoskeletons. You're right. That's my bad. Everyone
it's on you. On you this week. It's okay.
Exoskeletons using AI.
Well, I have to say, I thought that went rather well. Or in comparison to the past 2 weeks, I thought this was a much better week.
Dude, I'm so glad you think that.
Yeah. So much better than the last 2 weeks.
I am so thankful that you think that way.
There you go.
How do I do this? Am I done? Because I feel like that needs to be. There we go. All right. Exoskeletons using AI. You know what? That NVIDIA.
What about it? That little
Dude,
GIF?
that thing was good. I want to take I almost want to take this image and just call this our freaking.
I don't know why I didn't do this in the middle of the show.
Why didn't you do this in?
I could have dropped a link for that just into the chat. So if anybody's
if
you're still hanging out and you want to check out the NVIDIA article where you can actually see a video of this exoskeleton we talked about actually being used by the researchers at Waterloo, is my assumption. It's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
If you really want to get super nerdy, like I did while Nick was talking during one of the parts, I went down the rabbit hole of what they built the basic AI and database in. And so they built it with TensorFlow, and then there's an entire article on the database itself. And it's very interesting. Very nerdy, very interesting. Lots of big words. Can't understand most of it, but still enjoyed it. Lots of fun. Okay, what am I doing? I'm sending things to Nicholas. That's what I'm doing.
That's my name. Hi, I'm Nicholas.
Yes. Let's go.
What Blake, when I say the word AI, what comes to mind? Like what image in
Will
your
Smith.
mind's eye? So glad you said that. I'm gonna crop this dude's face out because we're talking about the lower extremities of people. We're not talking about, I'm
not talking about the face parts. We don't need the face parts.
Check out this dude's ass.
Wow. Oh man.
Look at the ass on this guy.
Cancelled.
Damn.
Okay, hold on. This is like something I couldn't. Yeah, that Exoskeleton's got an
All
ass
right.
on it. Okay, so that is that like large box that is protruding from his back half is part of the exoskeleton.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Is that where they keep the AI? Is that where they keep the little gremlin that lives in the exoskeleton that does all
Props.
the moving?
I would imagine that's where the. Now, see, I don't know if the AI, or at least in this iteration, I don't know if it's on board or if it's if it's hosted on like a computer or something that
You're so smart. I would have never thought of that.
streams it.
Just streaming AI. Too much.
Orders in the back.
I think
Look at that. There you go. That's it. Exoskeletons using AI. And I almost want to reorganize these so that way the butt is almost like front and center. Look at that. Okay.
Nice. Oh yeah, you got the little neural network on there. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. All right. That's what I'm going with. That's the thumbnail for today. Let's see here. We got to do the YouTube one though. Hold on. So we're gonna put the
man. So I would like to share for a moment because I just got my favorite type of email to get.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So every time like I work with somebody through Design Lab, they get sent to a career services portion. So I basically just help them gain the skills, and then somebody else kind of helps them figure out how to apply to jobs and stuff like that. Something that I want to look into doing. But anyway, so when a student finally actually gets their first job, I get an email about it. And usually I get a reach out as well. So I just got a LinkedIn message and an email from Design Lab about one of my new students getting a brand new job. I'm so excited because I know it's been a tough year for a lot of my students who stopped. Or who like finished their program right when COVID started. So seeing a lot of people get their first opportunity and get their first remote opportunity as their first job, it's just so awesome. So congratulations to Brandon. Stoked for you, man.
Congrats, Brandon. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love stories like that.
Just
yeah,
makes
sorry.
you feel good.
I went away for a brief second, so that way you could.
Yeah, it was terrifying to see my face that large all of a sudden.
Oh, I'm sorry, Blake. I have to deal with that every week. How do you think I feel?
I don't envy you. I don't want to live in your shoes or have your jaw. Would not be good.
Oh, dude, my jaw. You want my jaw? It's freaking awful. Oh
Yeah.
God, this hurts so bad. It was like really tightening up there. I want to say towards the end, or not towards the end, but towards the middle, right?
The midpoint, yeah. At the end, you seem to like relax somehow, and we're just like, let's do it, let's go.
Yeah,
dude, have you played Fall Guys? I know that's has nothing to do with anything. It just appeared in my Twitch stuff.
Oh yes, Fall Guys. Yes, I have played that game.
Would that be worth doing our like Friday week game thing on?
Oh yeah, that could be fun. And I also thought, by the way, that there is a fun way that we can both share our screens. Is if we, because I think you can share your screen too. And if we did like a can you share something on your screen that's non-incriminatory?
Everything is incriminatory. Yeah, so I'm fangirling out over here, so I will show that.
I just want to test this. So we're actually testing something right now to do what do I want to
do? Screen, not video. Okay, let's do that one.
Because this would be very cool.
Share.
If
can we do quad screen?
Yeah, we can.
Ooh, that's cool.
So check this out. So here's what I'm thinking, man. We do. Oh, hang on. We do this, and then we kill the caption, and that way, I will be down here, my game screen up here, and we just swap them around, so that way it's it makes sense. So that way I'm over here, you're over there.
Yes.
And then we both play, and we got everything right there. Look at that, and we remove the captions on our names.
Looks like a fun time.
Yeah, it could be really fun. And if we're streaming, we just have everything going there. That makes sense to me.
I love it. I love it so much.
You know what I'm not happy with though, Blake?
What?
I'll tell you, I'm not super happy with this thumbnail. It's kind of blown out and is not super high resolution. So I'm actually searching Google for the original image, and look how much clearer that is.
Wow. Do you see this? So much better res. It's funny. It's not as good color wise.
Look at that. So there he is.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this neural network is that blown out. I don't know.
Yeah, it kind of looks a little bit.
Yeah. Here. Let's search for that image.
See if you can find yourself another neural network.
Yeah, I'm gonna look for that neural network. Neural. Let's see here. I'm looking for it now. Search Google for image.
So this is super random, but
no, it's not.
I wonder if this guy is actually getting a lot of use out of this exoskeleton, because if you look to the right, he's got there's crutches hanging out over there.
I was wondering the same thing if he actually uses these. And I would imagine, like, you know, people in this field of study would be studying it for some reason. And what better reason to help yourself?
Yeah,
by helping others,
or maybe it's like an actual like participant that's using the tools.
Geez. Oh, and you know what? No, hang on. Hold on. Copy. Wait. Image address. Hold on, you guys. We've nearly got it. We've nearly got it. Copy image.
Nearly there now.
Oh boy, are you ready? Oh, look, there it is. Oh, it's like so good. Hold on.
Wow, that's way clear.
Hey, Blake, I also have another fun thing that we could do on stream. For the game night. It's not necessarily a game. It is a game, but we could and you tell me what you think about this. So
it's awful.
Thank you. There's a game called Geoguessr. Have you seen this game?
Nope. Never heard of it.
So there's this game called Geoguessr. It utilizes Google Maps and basically plops you down somewhere in the world.
What?
And your goal is to find out where you are based on context clues. And
that's kind of cool.
There's different levels. So you can, like, there's some where you can move around and look around and all that stuff. The hardest mode is it puts you down, points you at something, you can't move or can't do anything. You have to open up the map and guess where you're at. And there's a couple ways that you can do it, right? You have to, like, oh, sorry, I still have your screen showing. Go ahead and clear that out.
Oh man, I'm glad you guys could see that for so long. That's good.
Yeah, I'm done with this. This is our YouTube video. So yeah, no, it's a Geoguessr. I guess I could see if I can pull it up because it'd be kind of cool.
Good old geoguessing.
But yeah, they basically plop you down, and they in some random place of the world, and you have to guess where you are. Like, I can play like one round here while you're on with me. I won't play the full 5 rounds, but I'll just give you a sense of what we're looking at here, and I'll actually make a Human Factors Cast account. Why not?
Swag.
Do I have to verify my email really quick? Give me a second. I'm looking.
Fighting and snowballs and fighting.
Hold on. Sign up, maybe? Do I have to sign up with it?
You might have to sign up.
I may have to do that. Well, I promise this is worth it. It's a pretty cool game.
Good old geotagging. So that's interesting. I'm excited to see how it gives you like context clues to figure out where you are. Because I'm assuming you can't just like pan across the map and be like, "Oh, I'm here."
So here we go. Hang on. I will bring this up in just a moment, but it's a very cool. Oh, hang on. I gotta make a password.
Yes, by all means.
The catch with this game is that it's free if you want to play one time a day. Any additional times you have to pay for a subscription. But you know, this could be fun, right? So let me. Let's see here. Battle Royale. Okay, so hang on. Can you see my screen now? Let's see here. So here we go. We're on Human Factors Cast.
Good job.
Let's see. Play by map. So we can play the world or famous places. We can look at places in the United States. I think that might probably be. It's harder than you might think. World is actually probably the easiest because you have a lot of context clues about at least country that you can play. So it says here you can play 1 free game a day. You get $1.99 a month and get more stuff. But you can single player, use default settings. There's no time limit, moving allowed. Or you can say there's no move, so you're plopped in one place, but you can look around.
Gotcha.
You can say there's no move, no zoom, which means you're plopped in one place. You're basically looking. You can look around, but you can't zoom into things. Then there's no move, no pan, no zoom. So you're just looking at a static image. We'll do no move. Actually, we'll do moving, panning, and zooming allowed just to show what this is like. You start the game. You come in here, and it says, okay, well, here you are. You're out in somewhere. You are out in the middle of the field. I don't know what road signs those are. I'm just kind of going through my thought process right here.
Yeah.
I don't know
cognitive walkthrough.
I don't know if I've ever seen those. Okay, those just look like
They're like telephone poles.
Yeah. So
Okay.
now we're looking around here. We're on a country road somewhere. I have no idea
I think you're in
where we
Australia.
are. You think it's Australia?
I think so.
Well, if we look at north, we can tell that the sun is in the north.
It's in the sky. Yeah.
So that tells us that we're in the southern hemisphere, I think. Right?
I have no idea. You're much more keen on that than I would be.
At least that's what I think, right? So you can actually move around here, go down. Basically, what I'm looking for now is like a road sign, just to indicate like what language we're in.
Yeah.
But man, we're like on a
We're way out here.
Yeah. And I have no idea where we're at. So that looks like
So that's no cars passing.
we're driving.
Okay.
We're driving on the right side of the road. I think this is the United States somewhere.
Oh goodness. Is it?
Maybe
That's
not.
just not
It's
like
tropical. It's very tropical. Never
yeah,
mind.
those signs don't look like the ones
Florida.
I've typically seen in the US. Yeah, it's Florida.
Everything's different down there. All right, I'm not going to play this too long because this is the post show, but we're done with everything else. So unless there's, let's see here. I'm going to keep looking, but yeah, this is a totally fun game, and I think there's additional things that we can do, right? So like one of our patrons could send us an image. Oh, let's look at this car. Let's look at this car.
Yep. This should be telling.
Oh no, where'd it go?
I don't know, but you're like standing on top of a car now.
Yeah, hold on. So there was a car here. I want to look at the license plate to see if we can discern what color and shape it is. I don't know. It's gone. I'm going to keep moving down. But we could do like somebody could send us one picture of them somewhere, and we could kind of do like a forensic analysis on it. You know, like, hey, it looks like there's some mountain ranges. This gets really interesting when you have a general idea of where you are. I feel like I'm just stalling for time here.
Yeah, I'm really confused about where we might be now.
Yeah,
I think with the reverse coloring and the difference in signs, I don't think we're in the States.
Yeah, we're going back the way we came. Dang.
Yep.
Okay. That's my bad.
So are there any more contextual clues that pop up?
No, this
or is
is
it just like exploring and go
this is
try
exploring,
and find
right? But you can imagine that like if I had selected no move, no zoom, you're just looking around that one spot, and all you'd have to go off is, okay, it looks very tropical. It's sun's in the northern hemisphere. Like those are the types of things that you had to go off of. Oh, is this a road sign here? Hold on. It is.
Yep, there it is.
Hold on. Where are we? It's a Campo
Okay, so
Grande.
we're in KMs. Okay.
Okay, so we're probably I'd probably say in Mexico or one of these countries here. Campo Grande. I don't.
Yeah.
Where's that?
Oh, it's right there.
So we're looking. I would say we're probably really close to the equator. Is this Costa Rica? Campo Grande. Here, I'm gonna bring this up so we can look a little closer. Campo Grande.
Campo Grande.
That's Spanish.
Yeah.
I would say, let's see here. Coxim.
That feels, I don't know, a little more South American.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
But I don't really know.
Brazil? I don't know.
That's a good guess.
Does Brazil drive on the right side of the road?
I have no idea.
Where is Brazil? I feel like I'm.
Oh,
there it is. Okay, yeah,
right
Brazil
there.
is huge. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there? Coxim, and what are we looking for? Campo Grande.
Campo Grande.
There's probably somebody watching that's just screaming at me like, "Oh my god, it's so obvious."
Well, if you are, drop it in the chat and we'll, solve this problem swiftly.
I am not a world traveler. And so, I don't have any idea where we're at, honestly. And so this looks very tropical, probably a little more coastal because all the green. My guess would be probably somewhere.
Brazilian coast is not a bad guess. I think that's
reasonable. I'm just gonna guess like right here, right? So that's my guess. And then I can lock in.
Okay.
And then so we were in Brazil. We got Brazil.
Okay.
But we were 2,366 kilometers away. So it was actually over here.
Wow.
We were right in the middle of everything. Right here's Campo Grande that we were talking about. So it's 5 rounds. We got 1,024 points on there, and it's out of 5,000 points. You can do that. That was a tough one. So yeah, you can.
It's a lot closer than I would have expected to ever get, though. Like, I know it's not exact, but that's pretty dang good. I mean, I'm over here saying you would have been on Australia, so that's not going to work.
We did pretty good. We can just see what the next one would be, right? It might be easy, might be hard. This is coastal. Okay, so that's good. It looks like a Greece or Turkey or something over there, right?
Kinda, yeah.
With some of this architecture here. Like, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I'll speed run it here, but we'll look at Greece and Turkey or kind of, we'll just say right here, it's coastal, and we'll guess. Oh,
very correct.
Wow. Do you see that? Look how close we got.
That's insane.
Okay.
Can't be too pissed at that. I mean, that's really, really
234 kilometers. This looks like the States. This is definitely no. This is not.
Are we in Florida?
No, we're on the left-hand side. Look at this.
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay.
Unless this is a one-way. Where is this? This looks like
it's England.
Does it?
Feels like it a bit, but I don't know. Feels like an old retirement community in Florida.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Where's the sun? Is the sun in the sky? Oh, let's see here. Any flags?
Is the sun in the sky? Can we go look at that car? I don't know.
Yeah, we can. Oh, let's look at the plate. Yeah, I think you're right. Let's see here. Is that?
Are they blurring it out?
I think that's U.S.
Yeah, I think it might be.
Big camper. I think this is U.S.
Big, like, this could be Florida, dude.
You think this is Florida? Where's the sun? Sun is north.
In the sky.
Thank you, Blake. Yeah, sun's almost directly overhead. So yeah, I would say probably Florida. Let's try
go.
Florida. Let's just see what's up.
Do it. Yeah. They drive on the wrong side of the road in Florida anyway.
I'm just gonna say somewhere near Miami.
Fort Myers. Why not?
Fort Myers? Yeah, you think Fort Myers?
Yeah, I'm thinking Fort Myers.
We'll do that.
Watch it be like nowhere. Oh, you can't even see.
Hold on. Yeah, we will. It's just an ad. We'll see it in 5 seconds.
4, 3,
2, 1.
Florida's and not Florida. Right.
Oh my. Wow, New Zealand.
What? That's in New Zealand. Oh man.
Look at that.
Well, we were 0 points there. That's fine.
All right. Let's get out of here, Blake.
Yeah. Oh god.
Well, thank you if you've been watching with us. Thank you for hanging out for this post show. This is something fun that Blake and I like to do. And join us next week for episode 200. We've enjoyed hanging out with all of you, and we'll be back Sunday. Blake will be here to do some things with the website.
Yep, building things. Come with questions. Love to help on your portfolio questions or whatever you got.
Excellent. All right. Well, take care, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with us. See you next time.